I'm very excited to be here with all of you and talk about how to find anything in transportation. So let's jump right in. We only have a half an hour, and that's not a lot of time to find everything. So why don't we start? I'm Cara Marcus. I'm a library and information scientist and also the Resource Center Manager for National RTAP. And here I am finding lots of great things. If you're unfamiliar with National RTAP, we are National Rural Transit Assistance Program. We're a technical assistance center funded by FTA, Federal Transit Administration, through Section 5311 Rural Funding Program. National RTAP provides free training materials and technical assistance to rural and tribal transit providers, to state RTAP programs, to researchers, students, lots of other folks. And you can see we have an actual brick and mortar library. We're governed by a review board of state, DOT, and rural and tribal transit agency managers. And if that's any of you right now, we're having a solicitation for new review board members, and maybe you'll join us. Our offices are in Woburn, Massachusetts and Washington, D.C., but we have staff working around the country. Our URL is pretty easy, nationalrtap.org, and we hope you take a look. So especially what I'm going to talk about today is our Find Anything Toolkit. And notice we call it the Find Almost Anything Toolkit. I don't know if you can actually find anything, especially if something doesn't exist. But if it exists, we will help you find it. So when you go to that nationalrtap.org, you'll see a row of buttons across the top. Mouse over the resources button. Take a little walk. Hop, skip, jump, jog, and go to the resources area, and then go to the toolkits. And there you go, Find Anything Toolkit, and you're in. The URL is there, so that's an easy way to find it too. And probably if you Google National RTAP Find Anything Toolkit, you will find it just as easily. So before we start helping you find things, let's think about the 5 W's. Who, what, why, where, when. So before you even start any research, ask yourself, ask your team the following W questions. This will inform your research process and lead you to a research roadmap, such as shown in the slide. So let's talk about some of these. So you have to research something. Who did any initial information come from? Was it from your manager? Was it from your team itself? Did you find it? That'll help you find out who to contact or where to start looking for the research. What is the essence of the question? When you just get a word like electric buses, so there's a lot you can try to find out about that. What do they cost? Where do you buy them? How do you find out procurement needs? How do you maintain them? So what are you really trying to find out about this topic? And why are you looking for this information? Are you going to write a report? Are you going to present in front of your team or in front of a conference? That'll make a lot of a difference in how you're going to approach your research. Where would it make sense to start the research? Right in your own team shared drive? Has there been already research done about this with a national technical assistance organization, FTA? There's a lot of places you can start. And when was this information likely to be published or stated? Some things have been around for years, decades, centuries. Some are brand new. So that'll help you do your research too. And going back to who could be asked for more information? Who are the leading experts on this topic? Once you start getting research resources, you'll probably see names over and over again. Sometimes you'll see the same name and you'll say, hey, that must be the expert. But sometimes you'll see a lot of different names, and it makes sense to reach out to a lot of different people related to why are you looking for this information? What type of answer is expected? Do you need to collect data? Do you need to collect funding sources? Do you need to collect, just research resources? And another why question. Why is this important? Not just because you were asked to do this project. Why is this important in a big picture sort of way? Going back to electric buses, is it important to lower emissions, help the environment? A lot of reasons. Where was this published? Was it published in the US? Don't overlook overseas publications or regional publications. Maybe when you start finding sources, you'll see, wow, Colorado is a leader on this. Maybe I should look really on their state site. And when was the information first mentioned? I'll tell you, with electric vehicles, I was surprised when I first started really delving into this. They were around since the beginning of the 1900s. So it's important to, when you're researching something, go back as far as you can, see the historical context. So I'm going to talk about a lot of different sources. And I know you're going to try search engines and use them. Believe it or not, even the most scholarly librarians do too. And you're probably, if you're going to use search engines, start with Google, because that's where most people start. And here's some tips. There's going to be a lot of tips I'll be sharing. Words matter. So when you're starting research, and after you've done all your W's, all your groundwork, your research roadmap, think about all the different words and phrases you can use to get to the point of your subject. And this is not just for Google, this is really for any kind of database, journals, scholarship, library portal. Words matter. So the following are two images captured from Google searches done at the exact same time. One was for non-emergency medical transportation, and one was for its acronym, NEMT. So the top 5 resources, completely different. Possibly they all have value, but if you only did one search, you'd only find one group of resources. So that shows you that what you put into whatever type of search bar you're using, you will probably get different results if you're using different terms or phrases. So here's our first tip. Use quotes to get the exact word or phrase, because sometimes search engines will try to find things that are sort of like it, and with NEMT that's fine, but sometimes you'll use a word and it'll find things that are completely off base if you don't put the quotes around it. And use what's called Boolean operators. So if I were doing this search, I would put the two phrase and words in quotes, and I would use or, because that way it would capture it if it was non-emergency medical transportation or NEMT. If you want to do and, say you're looking for something just in Pennsylvania, you would put and Pennsylvania. And don't forget parentheses, because you still want to get both your or terms around the actual terms that you're searching for. And then if you don't want something, like suppose you don't want something that's urban, you would do not. So again, use parentheses about what you do want, and then not urban. So that's sort of the 1 minute way to use features in Google and many other search engines. So again, with Google, there's a lot of advanced features you can use to pinpoint what you're searching for. You can search specific types of sites. Now, if you're looking for something about bus, and Google will find buses, busing, whatever, if you don't put it in quotes, and you put site:/gov, it will search for the word or related words bus on government sites like FTA, FMCSA, FHWA, and other government sites too that may not be transit related, but it'll help pin it down a little bit. Boolean search with bus and rules or regulations, remember those parentheses, from the site transit.gov will search, that's the FTA website, and it'll search for regulations and rules for buses, and or documents about regulations or rules. So that'll be a more pinpointed search. And file type, that can help too. If you just want PDFs, which are often for more things like reports or books, ebooks, journal articles, etc., file type PDF. And another good thing to do, all in title: paratransit. That way you won't have to look through a 500-page document that might have mentioned paratransit once in passing. It will be the title of a document that you're looking for. So these are all good tips, and these are specific to Google, but some of them, like the Boolean, will work with other search engines too. Don't just do the web for Google. Look at Google Scholar. That will have scholarly articles, Google Books, full textbooks, including textbooks you can search, news for news articles, and images. A lot of times you're just looking for an image. Now, of course, with search engines, you should look beyond Google. And just like I showed you, searching for a different word or phrase will get you different results. Doing the exact same search in a different search engine will most likely give you different results too. And sometimes you'll find the hidden gem in one of these. Some of them also have the added benefit of not taking your cookies, like Privado. You can search privately. And some of these have sort of funny names like Dogpile or DuckDuckGo or Yippee, but don't discount them. They are good search engines. Everything in the Find Anything toolkit has been specially selected. So the state Google search engine will only, as it sounds, search state websites. So that's a good one to try. Microsoft Academic is Microsoft's version of Google Scholar, also scholarly articles. You can ask a whole sentence with a question mark. They all have their sort of benefits. So try them all. And if you find one that you really like, please let me know and I'll check it out. And maybe it'll be in the next version of the Find Anything toolkit. And another good thing to do is search transportation journals themselves. A really great librarian, Kendra Levine, has compiled an Excel spreadsheet with links to all of the most relevant transportation journals. Many are open access, full text. So sometimes if you find, just web links and you're really looking for something scholarly, journals are a good place to go. Now, don't just search the web. use information clearinghouses and experts. Certainly libraries. And believe it or not, your local public library usually has a pretty good collection. I've gotten a lot of great transportation books from it, from my own local library, and the reference librarians are great at finding information quickly. Departments of transportation, find out who your state librarian is, see what resources might be available to you. There might be, really specialized databases with full text journal articles, data, statistics sources, and other things that you can't get on the web. The National Transportation Library, NTL, has a Rosa P database with thousands of really, really great sources, and they have a whole team of librarians selecting what goes in there. The TRB library is similar in that they also have wonderful resources, many by TRB, but many from outside sources too. So reach out to the staff at these libraries. Don't feel that you're interrupting them, because that's what they're there for. Technical assistance organizations, we're always very happy to help you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Eastern time. Call us, chat with us, email us. The National Transportation Knowledge Network, NTKN, has a whole website with a lot of guides. They're called LibGuides, with the best, what their librarians feel are resources on all kinds of topics in transportation, beyond transit too, really everything. You go to US DOT, go to all its agencies, other government agencies, EPA, USDA, they all have something to do with transportation, and they all have experts who can help you. Look locally too. Your state transit association has technical assistance experts, and even more locally, your local chamber of commerce, government offices, etc. There's a whole slew of people who are there to assist you with your research. So come on into the libraries and ask us. And ask each other. All of you are experts in something, and probably a lot. So, maybe you haven't done this topic yet for research, but maybe somebody who you work with has, or somebody from another transit agency or organization. You can join peer forums. If you're from a rural or tribal transit agency, you can join our Transit Managers Forum. It's on Facebook, and have a secure way to ask your peers, like this question. Somebody was developing a mobility management plan. They asked if somebody has a plan to share. Right away, somebody answered. A few more people answered too. It's a great way to get help and expand your network. There's many other peer networks. There's one for every topic. Again, look at our Find Anything Toolkit. And if you don't see one about, that would really be relevant to you, consider starting one on any social platform, or there's a lot of other ways to start a peer network. We're happy to help you. And just like way back when you were in school, conduct your own research. You might not find everything you need by visiting information clearinghouses, doing web searches. So create a survey. There's a lot of free survey creation tools online, or your organization or somebody you work with may have one, and send it to your own network. Post it on your LinkedIn. Work with a larger organization like us to have it disseminated. Even a Twitter survey can generate quick results with surprisingly candid comments. First person research. Remember all those who questions. When you find an author, research, subject matter expert, email them. say I'm doing a research project on whatnot. I found your article and it really spoke to me. Would you have 15 minutes to talk to me more about your research? And even if they've already retired, in fact, especially if they've already retired, they might have the time to talk to you. Reach out in a personal way and don't stress. The worst thing that can happen is they say no or ignore you. But 9 times out of 10, they'll say, oh, wonderful. I'm available to talk next week at 3 p.m. Let's set up a call. And observe, ask for a tour of a transit facility, hop on the bus or train, actually observe things, write notes. Now, if you're going to do this, explain your research to whoever is in charge of this and ask permission. Because if somebody sees somebody with a notepad and looking at people and writing notes, there might be questions. So again, find out if you can do it, and you'll really find out a lot that way. Now, a lot of times you're going to need data. How many vehicle miles traveled, this, that, and the other thing. So this is not the time for search engines. Go to a reputable source. The Bureau of Transportation Statistics, BTS, National Transit Database, NTD. National RTAP links to the Rural National Transit Database. Look at the US Census. And before you start searching, there are many, many published reports already that might have exactly the data you need. There's spreadsheets that you can easily download. I've showed you can find data by mode on the National Transportation Atlas database. The census, this one is a recent one on commuting. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Maybe somebody already has the exact answer that you need. Searching a database is more difficult than searching Google or even a library database. And don't worry if you are trying to search and don't find something right away. Again, they all have experts who are there to help you. And there's also webinars on how to use these tools and information sheets. So the people who create these want their users to be able to find what they need. So reach out. Now, of course, I mentioned National RTAP Library. You saw a picture of the library. We also have a library portal called Resource Share, and we have about 700 resources, our own. We've published about 200 technical briefs, toolkits, training modules, survey results, etc. And the rest are all specially selected resources. And we call it Resource Share because it's really meant to share. Everything in Resource Share is free and full text. You won't be asked to pay for it. And if it's our resource, you can use it in any way you want. They're on lots of topics. You can download them. You can request them in print format. We have books, we have discs, we have training cards, and we're very happy to ship them out to you. We also have e-learning training. So we include citations. So if you're finding resources and you want to include them in your publication, you can easily cite them. And again, if you need any help using this, please reach out. TACL is a fairly new library. It just celebrated its first birthday this month. And it is a project of FTA, and it's 5 technical assistance centers. And just like its name, the Transportation Technical Assistance Coordination Library, the focus of this library is on transportation coordination. So if you're looking for that, you'll find it in TACL. We upload new resources on a quarterly basis. We're up to 91 resources from when we started a year ago. And if you go to transportation-tackle.org and you want training on TACL, we are hosting a training in February. And you can also take a look at the recorded training that we had in August. So you found the best resources.
They dirty or clean.
And what do you want to make
I'm
sure?
not. I just happened.
Okay, we have to pause. It's 11:25. I just want to quickly say, make sure they stay found. You can use file cabinets, folders, shared drives, SharePoint, citation managers, and really name things well. And please reach out if you have questions. And we have a couple of minutes if anybody has a question. Any questions? Anything anyone wants me to try to find in the next minute? Show how quickly you can find something?